give this to you too.
Oh,
Thank you, bro.
bro, you guys really didn't have to.
Yes,
I
bro.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. This was
Well,
comfy.
all that you know allow us to do too, man, like with the gym and stuff.
Oh, no. I don't, honestly, I've told many people before, I don't ever look for anything in return. You
Yeah.
know, I appreciate it. And I do it out of the kindness of my own heart and what I'm trying to provide for not just you guys, but for any good people.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. Well, welcome in to our next podcast for Renewal. We, man, you're the first actual guest
guest.
that is joining in on the pod, man. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, I feel honored.
Yeah, you want to
Thank you,
introduce
man.
yourself, bro?
Yeah,
Just so people know who you are.
For those that don't know me, I'm Xavier. For those that do know me as the guy who owns Savage Fit Club.
Yes.
Right here in Ontario. One of the 3 owners, that is. I own it with my wife,
Yeah.
Andrea, and my best friend, Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been pretty much owning this gym for 2005. Yeah, going on 4 years now.
Yeah.
It'll be 4 years in July. Yeah, I'm not really local to this area, so it's
Sure.
like I'm still meeting new people every single day.
Where did you grow up?
Oh, man. I mean, childhood-wise, I went to school out in San Gabriel, Rosemead area.
Okay.
Pretty much out there. And then throughout, like, middle school and high school was Walnut.
Okay.
And then after high school, when I went to college at Laverne, that's when I kind of moved out here to Chino.
Got it.
And
Got it.
been here ever since.
Yeah, man. You know, one of the things that we love to talk about on the pod is like this idea of like transformation and you know, the renewal perspective.
Mhm.
And for you, you know, just kind of looking you at a distance, we got connected from a guy at the church,
Yeah.
you know, Chris Bertezzi. And you know, he was really encouraging us to connect and to meet, and I understand why, you know.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, you know, it's always good to meet people that understand the grind
Oh, for sure.
and understand this idea of like leadership and like startup, you know, planting something from the ground up.
Yeah.
You know, I think it does require a particular type of mindset and character and essence. So yeah, man, I mean, talk to me about like transformation to you. Like, what does that mean to you? The idea of like transformation. And like, let's first start like, what does it mean to you as a man, transformation?
As a man, I mean, like the word transformation, you can dive into it in 10 different ways when
Yeah.
it comes to, like, in my expertise, the gym or
Mm-hmm.
or life, you know, kind of diving into like both of them, because I don't train a huge clientele of men. But as far as my own standard of what transformation means, I mean, as we know, and as we've kind of built like the business and our brand and everything, every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, we change and things change. And
Yeah.
the transformation that I, let alone, have made from before the gym was even a thought, before being a husband was even a thought,
Yeah.
before being a leader was even a thought.
Yeah.
It's changed me for the good, and I've learned that as a man, you have to take on that role, and not every man does it, but you have to take on that role to lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people look to you, even though you may not want it.
Yeah.
Even though you may not expect it.
Yeah.
As a man, people look to you to lead, no matter who you are, whether you're a man coming from a family, a man at church, a man at the gym.
Yep.
People look to you, you
Yeah.
know, and it depends, and it's how you hold yourself as well. You know, most men can kind of gravitate to the ones that can lead and are leading, or at least giving off that aura of leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the whole transformation idea is, you as a man have to learn that every day, every year is going to be different, and you have to learn to adapt
Yes. Yeah.
to the stuff that you get thrown at you.
Yeah. If you want to keep growing and maturing, and
That's the only
developing.
way to grow.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not able to adapt and kind of change your mindset day to day, and not like in the grand scheme of it, like change your mindset entirely, but you know, you have to be able to handle things that are thrown at you in order to take control of the situation. In order to, if you want it to resolve a certain way, you have to be able to figure those things out.
100%.
You know,
one of the things that I correlate so much of transformation, renewal, you know, change theory, habits, all that kind of stuff is I really see the correlation between fitness and working out and like the spiritual journey,
Yes.
because there's a lot of overlapping things that take place there,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
What is how do you think, and I don't know if you've ever thought of it this way, but how do you think that your fitness journey, you being, because you're a disciplined guy, bro. I mean, you're like counting the the like ounces and, weighing out, your
Everything.
protein and stuff. I mean, I love that you do that, but it shows a level of discipline. How would you say that level of discipline has enhanced you, like in your marriage, or enhanced you as like a business owner, enhanced, like, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
no, it definitely makes sense. It's just it's kind of like I've mentioned, kind of backtracking what I was saying. Like every phase of my life, there's been different sets of like discipline that have kind of helped me in aspects of my life.
yeah,
Now the discipline you've seen recently was because of me doing the bodybuilding show and the prep and stuff like that, and it's a different discipline that I've done with the fitness world space, I guess you would call it.
yeah,
But in that time frame that you saw me, as far as a husband, I mean, it did take some time doing that specifically away from me focusing on certain aspects of my life. But I think it definitely, I learned a different set of tools that I had in the tool set
yeah,
that I didn't know that I had. I guess I knew that I had,
yeah.
but it never showed, But as far as that kind of discipline translating as far as being a husband, um, it it's it's something that's kind of came pretty easy for me. My parents instilled discipline all through my life.
Okay, yeah,
Really hard on me,
right,
in a good way,
yeah,
but in a way where it taught me to be the man that I am now.
sure, yeah,
Primarily my mom, she always taught me to kind of respect women, respect women no matter whether you're with them, without them, they're your friend.
sure,
Women have you as a man, you have to show that respect to
sure,
women
yeah,
because they go through a lot and whatnot, and that love. So, being a husband to Andrea was, I wouldn't say it's necessarily easy because being a husband isn't easy,
yeah, for sure,
but it comes pretty natural for me. So that discipline, that translates from the fitness space to what I can apply at home,
yeah,
has definitely been something that has kind of sharpened the tools, I would say.
sure,
Kind of being a little bit more attentive, being
yeah,
on top of the task, helping around the house as much as I can.
yeah, yeah,
If I can get up early at 4 a.m. and go do
sure,
cardio, I can spend an extra hour to
absolutely,
clean up the dishes
sure.
or,
You could do
you
hard
know,
things.
correct. Yeah.
Yes.
And I've always been that type of person where I don't complain about the hard things. That's just it's been instilled in me since
Does
I've
it
been
bother
young.
you when people complain about hard things?
I can't say no. I would say
Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
but and I can understand why people complain. And I know I've learned kind of through the process of being a trainer, being a business owner, being a leader to trainers, to clients,
Yeah.
and all that people go through stuff, and I kind of have to be. I might butcher my terms here, but is it empathetic or
Yeah.
sympathetic?
Yeah.
Empathetic
For sure.
into to what they're dealing with,
Sure.
and understanding I can't be like, well, like if I can do it, you can do it.
Got it.
No, like
Yeah.
it's people don't have the same mindset I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah,
you know?
man. I think something that I really respect about you is I'm always drawn to people that are very self-aware, and you're very self-aware of your surroundings. You're very self-aware of the people that you're around when you're training, at the gym and your business. Where do you think that came from? Because what you're describing is like self-awareness. It's like
Yeah.
emotional intelligence. Like,
Correct.
I get frustrated when people, are slacking, but yet I understand that they've gone through X, Y, and Z. So I'm not gonna like speak down to them.
No.
I'm gonna, everyone has a different journey, but some people are complete opposite of that. Like they get annoyed at those things, they call it out immediately.
For sure.
And then it hurts people, and then you don't build relationships. But where do you think that comes from?
I
For you?
think for sure my mom. And a lot of that has to kind of do with me having my brothers as well, because
Yeah.
both my brothers have very different personalities.
Yeah.
One's a softie,
Okay.
gets hurt by words and actions
Sure.
really
Sure.
easily.
Older or younger?
Both younger.
Okay.
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I'm the
Okay, so you're
oldest.
the leader.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I guess, another how everything's kind of just kind of not came easy, but it's just
Sure.
natural, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of them's a little softy. One kind of gets hurt by words, just depending. You kind of have to be careful on how you talk to him,
Got it.
tiptoe. And the other one's kind of, I wouldn't say I can be straightforward with him, but he's the type of person where if I'm straightforward with him, he won't necessarily get offended. I think having those kind of personalities has allowed me to kind of be aware and self-aware
Sure.
of others' feelings and how they, I guess, react
Yeah,
to what
absolutely.
I say. Another thing too is like I grew up kind of, and I've touched about it with you. Is I led youth for a while. I did confirmation. I was a confirmation teacher. I led youth rallies, youth
Yeah, yeah.
ministry,
Yeah, love that, man.
retreats, stuff like that. So dealing with kids as well, especially in high school,
Yeah.
such a sensitive
Sure.
time emotionally.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
not because they're sensitive, but because they're going through their emotions. They're learning how to grow. They're becoming men, women,
Yeah.
young adults,
Yeah.
and trying to navigate how to talk to them.
Yeah.
Has something that's taught me to be kind of self-aware with others as well. You know,
Yeah.
and being intentional
Sure.
with it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I guess that's kind of
Yeah, I think something that I love, man, about again, another reason why I was so drawn to you is you know, when you get into the gym at Savage, it's very communal. It doesn't feel like you're going to 24-hour fitness and it's like clock in, clock out. Like everyone's talking to each other. Everyone's connecting. You can just tell, like you can just sense in the room, like this feels more like family.
yeah.
Was that something that you like from the get-go wanted to establish, or did it just kind of?
No, absolutely. That was the intent behind it. And like I mentioned, the gym I used to work at right here around the corner.
Yeah.
Mark Haro had kind of I saw the type of person he was with his members, and very communal, very get to know you on a name basis. Always say hi, good morning,
yeah,
how was your day?
Sure, sure.
Even if it's like, oh, I saw you're at like, I don't know, it was your birthday
Sure.
a couple days ago. Make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
like next time if I remember, say happy birthday, you know?
Yeah.
But I know that's something me, Andrea, and Griffin had talked about when we first created this gym was we wanted to create a safe space for our clients
Yeah.
and for ourselves so that clients would feel comfortable, would
Yes.
feel like this is like a second home to them.
Hmm.
Feel comfortable in the workouts and them trying to achieve their goals and
Sure,
whatever it
sure.
is. And whoever did walk in that was new, we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we greeted them,
Sure.
make sure that they knew us on a name-to-name basis.
Yeah.
Even new trainers coming in, we tell them, hey, if you have a new client, make sure you introduce them to us because we would like them to know us, not because we want to feel comfortable with them, but we want them to feel comfortable
Yeah,
with us
absolutely.
and feel comfortable with that space.
Yeah.
So it's been taught down, and it's something that I kind of wanted to create because not a lot of private gyms have that communal sense. They
Yeah,
do in a
sure.
sense where you see it on social media, but it's different. I feel at Savage, it's more family oriented,
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
you can feel the care that you get from each person
Yeah.
when they talk to you,
For
when
sure.
they're engaging with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it definitely was intentional from the get go.
No, that's great, man. Yeah, I think I think going back to like, you know, the whole conversation of just renewal, transformation, all of that, I would argue much of transformation isn't necessarily done alone. It's done together. And so you're going to need a quote trainer, you're going to need a mentor, a coach, you're going to need a pastor to walk with you
Absolutely.
and to be like, hey, you're doing this wrong. Let's readjust, you know, your posture. Let's readjust this, right? And you really have to care for the person
Oh yeah.
to see their results come to pass.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And you have to care for them because if they don't feel that,
Yeah.
they're not going to be as intentional with trying to improve whatever it is that
Yeah,
they're trying to
for sure.
improve, you know?
Yeah, because something that I've always caught from you, man, is like you're not really out to just catch a buck, to get more money, to get more clients or more people in the gym, just so that like it adds up for you and your bank account. I've never got that from you. You're a very generous person.
Absolutely.
Does that come from mom too? Like where does that come from? Or does that come from your faith background?
It's a little bit of everything, you know, but I've never really sat back and when you ask me these questions and thought about like if I were to direct it to one sole person that has
Sure.
led me.
Yeah.
It's definitely been my mom, and I've had other mentors throughout life
Yeah.
and whatnot. But
Was dad much in the picture?
yeah, of course,
Okay.
of course. Throughout my childhood, high school, he was just busy with always with work. It wasn't
Got
until
it.
like after high school, college was when he kind of, okay, I need to take a step back
Okay.
and actually invest time in my family and my
Sure,
kids.
sure.
And I'm starting to feel that a lot more as
Mm.
of the last 10, 12-ish
Oh, that's
years, I would
awesome, man.
say.
Yeah.
But childhood was mainly a lot of my dad would take us to school. We would hang out. We would be with him on the weekends and both of them together. But my mom was the one that was kind of teaching us morally
Yeah.
how to be
Got it.
as
Okay.
individuals. You know, my
Yeah.
dad was there as an authoritative figure
Sure.
to, like, you know, if we were misbehaving or you could
Sure,
go
sure,
see your
sure.
dad, you know,
Okay.
ask your dad, those kind of things.
Yeah.
My dad was the one who kind of instilled like the hardworking mentality in
Yeah.
me, you know, the don't complain, do the
Okay.
work,
The work ethic.
you know, the work ethic.
Yeah.
But as far as the morals, it was definitely
Sure.
my mom. And the generosity aspect that you're talking about, I think it's just kind of naturally who I've
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
I'll bring a little story. And my mom was actually just talking about this this past weekend, maybe, or the weekend before, or last weekend. It's a story she tells everybody. My middle brother would always try to get me to help him clean his room.
Mm.
And
He'd like persuade you?
yeah, in a way, like, oh, like, you know, like, because back in the day, they used to call me Javi, like Javier for short, for Xavier.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Javi, can you help me with, you know, folding my blankets? Because my mom would always make us fold our blankets for our
Okay.
room before
Yeah,
we
yeah,
left for the morning or in the weekend. And my mom always tells the story that my brother had kind of persuaded me to help him because he's like, oh, I don't know how to do it. Can you show me? And I just naturally, oh, okay, here you go. So you got to go corner to corner,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
and
yeah.
this. And my mom, she vividly remembers her sitting back and being like, Xavier, like, your brother knows how to do it.
Mm.
Like, why? He's like, oh, I'm just here. I'm just trying to help him, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just, I guess, what I said since I was very young, just naturally,
Got
it
it.
just became. And probably as a young kid, baby, you know,
Yeah.
I probably saw my mom doing that a lot. And
Yeah.
my mom still does that, you know, in
Okay.
general. I still see it.
Sure.
But yeah,
No, I
predominantly
love
came
that,
from
man. No, that's great. Yeah, so okay, on the conversation of like family, right? You're having a baby
Yeah.
soon, right? You and
Yeah.
Andrea.
Mhm.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, we're almost halfway there, almost.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Do you have a name yet, or just kind of
Yes.
keeping it on
Yes.
the?
No, we have a name. I know we've kind of poked around like the nickname on Instagram, but the name will be Ezekiel.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful name,
Yeah.
bro.
From primarily we got it from the Bible.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
It was definitely a name that we wanted to when we've had this name
It's a very strong
in our
name.
back pocket since
Yeah.
a couple years.
You
in
know, it's funny,
dating
man. If we Kelly and I ever had, that was one of the names that I wanted
for a boy.
For a boy.
Yeah.
It's just a very strong.
Very strong name.
I think names are really important.
Yeah.
I think we should look at what the name of our child will be. You know, because that's what we're speaking into them.
Yeah.
We're speaking destiny into them, identity into them. So yeah, Ezekiel's a very strong
And I
name.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the biblical term for Ezekiel is the strength of God.
Yeah. I would say 100%.
So that's kind of the reason, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and even just the story of Ezekiel in Scripture is amazing. So he's a strong prophet.
Yeah.
So within the conversation of family, so you're having a son, right? You're X amount of months out. What about half a year? Okay, so even
four-ish. Is it April, May, June? Yeah, 4.
so pretty soon, you know, you're gonna be a father, right? In the flesh, like right in front of you, right? Because you already are technically now.
Technically, yeah.
What type of father do you want to be? When you think of like fatherhood and dad, right? Like whether it be from your dad or just like dads that you see that you think are like doing a phenomenal job, like what do you want your son when he's 20 to be like, oh man, this is my dad? How would you want him to describe you?
2 things that come to mind. One, always there.
Mm.
And as far as just the day my kid turns 20, 30, whatever years it is, he looks back and he says, like, I could always count on my dad being there. Always there. I turn around at practice, he's there. Turn around at church, he's there. I turn around at the gym, he's there, you know, watching me, guiding me, making sure I'm good. That's one. The second one, it's kind of a question that someone actually asked me on a Q&A on Instagram recently. But to teach him as I mentioned, my mom taught me just having good morals.
Yeah.
Morally,
sure.
Being a morally strong man.
Absolutely, man.
Because it goes a long way.
It does, bro.
And
Yeah.
men get so clouded nowadays with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Persuading and temptation and
Sure.
going in the wrong direction. And
Yeah.
morally, like if you have the right morals, eventually it's gonna lead you into the right path.
Absolutely.
So so always being there and being morally strong.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, man. Because I think we hit on it a little bit earlier. It's great to have the discipline to show up at the gym, to wake up, right, to count, our levels of protein that we're doing, right, what's going in, what's going out. Like that's essential.
Yeah.
To become like a machine and to do well. But yet you're hitting on something deeper. Like you can have all those things and still not be a healthy father.
Correct.
Right? You can have all those things and still not produce children with good morals.
Mm-hmm.
So like it sounds like for you, there's been some like bedrock things foundational in your story that has been like, no, this is the man that I am because of my family system. We have good, bad, and the ugly, right?
Yeah.
None of our families are perfect.
No.
But what I love about what you're saying, man, is like, I want to instill good morals. And the reason being that I love that, man, is, dude, and I know you see it, X, like, there are so many people that have weakness or bad mindsets, aren't doing well. And if you look deep in it enough, their fathers just weren't around.
Yeah.
Like I would say as a pastor, when I do soul care, when I just sit down and talk to people, I would argue, and I don't have the exact number, but like 90% of the time, 8 times out of 10, maybe 8.5 times out of 10, it's usually someone that is not doing well. Things have happened. They don't feel like they have direction, vision.
Yeah.
And usually it's a lack of a father that didn't instill morals.
Correct.
Because I think it's good to show up, but what are you teaching when you're showing
exactly.
up? What life are you showing, Because I always like to say, like, in a family system, things are rather like caught than taught.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I caught like too late in a sense, or like caught like when in the midst of the cloudiness.
Yeah, like or like you just going through like your day-to-day life and they're catching things. Like we as children, we caught things from our mom and dad. And I want to be the type of father, like, because Jesus was like this. Because I like to say that a lot. Things are caught, not taught. But that's true, but it's like half true. Jesus, he not only did people catch things, but he also taught it.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, did you notice what I just did right now? He would go to his disciples and explain things to them. And that's kind of like the father that I want to be as well, man. Like I want to, I have all daughters. So to me, it's like a massive undertaking, and I'm praying that there's men out there that want to instill good morals to their sons, because my daughters are going to be looking for a husband one day,
Yeah.
So, no, I appreciate that, man. Like I think all of it, like you're saying, it's the faith, it's like a healthy family system. It's the empathy that comes from like a nurturing mom.
Yeah.
It's the hard work ethic. It's the showing up.
Everything.
Like all of that is really important. And I think unfortunately there's not a lot of young guys that have that model.
No.
And,
They don't at all. And it's tough to see. And, I see it in the gym because, I have my clients, and my clients confide in me and a lot of different things that they're dealing with, not maybe in depth and what the deeper meaning of everything is, but, they'll kind of talk to me about their problems, what they're going through, I don't really dive deep too much because it's not necessarily my full job description, and I'm kind of getting into like some other person's field that deals with that.
Right.
But I try to help because, mentally when it comes to the gym space and what they're dealing with, whether it's how they were raised, who they're raising, what they're going through, it's going to matter when they're in the gym and outside the gym, no matter what, life is there, and if the ducks aren't in the row when it comes to your life and everything being sound, it's hard to kind of get everything else or the other stuff, the extra stuff that you're trying to add in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So good, man. I have maybe like 1 or 2 more questions and then we can land the plane. When you're thinking about, let's just say the next 5 years. Now let's cut it down even shorter, the next 3 years.
Okay.
What are things that you want to renew and transform? Like what are areas that you're like, I know I got to do better or get better at this or work on this because I want to see transformation in this area of my life, whether it be business, fitness, personal, family, like what What are some areas that you're like, yeah, bro?
Definitely the biggest. I wouldn't say the biggest one, but there's two that come to mind. Third one I kind of have to kind of search for, but
Yeah.
I think as of lately, since the baby's on the way, um, a bigger responsibility I feel like I want to renew and transform is. I wouldn't say necessarily because I don't think I can convince. I mean, I probably could convince if it got to that point, but being the primary or sole provider financially
Sure.
for the family,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, I have quite a few examples of that
Right.
around our family and friends, and it's something I always aspired to be.
Sure.
With the baby on the way, it's kind of I'm starting to kind of feel pushed in that
Yeah,
direction,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, and challenge where like,
No, that's good.
okay, this is something where it's gonna happen eventually. You can either make it happen now or you can make it happen in a few years, but
Sure.
you're either gonna get your hand forced
Right.
or you can create something where it kind of naturally comes and it's not doesn't feel as pressured.
Yeah, that's good.
Second thing is definitely kind of being a better mentor and leader for the trainers at the gym.
Okay.
With us building the gym, it's been 4 years, and for finally, I was talking about it with Griffin recently, and Griffin actually mentioned we're finally getting to the point where we're kind of getting comfortable. Not in a way where we want to be uncomfortable, but comfortable where like, okay, like what's next? What more can we do?
Sure.
You know, we've talked about a lot of different things, programs, boot camp classes, stuff like that we talked about. But my purpose for the gym is I want to create a space not only for my clients and members, but trainers to be able to train there and feel like they can have someone to lean on when they're trying to build their own business, have their own clientele, be the same type of trainer, whether myself, Andrea, or Griffin are. You know? And I believe we're all great examples, but we're such great examples because we grind, we work, you know, but we have to be able to kind of take a step back and look at the big picture and see like, okay, if we want to help these trainers, we have to be able to take a slight step back from doing the job that we're good at and instilling that job into them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so that's two.
No, that's good,
the
man.
third one, it's tough. I haven't really. Those are the two biggest ones right now.
Sure.
But I think the third one is continuing to learn to be the father that I want to be. You know, in 3 years, and my child will be 2 years old. You know, we'll be contemplating on a second one. You know, we don't. Andre doesn't want it too soon. So
how many children do you want?
2. We said 2 or 4. I've told her like I don't. We've both agreed the odd number is out of the question.
Love that.
We both have two siblings, and with the odd number is always an odd one out. Usually, you know. There's 2 that mesh. And there's another 2 that mesh, and then there's 2 that don't mesh. You know? So, but yeah, I think learning to become a better father while doing the stuff that I mentioned 1 and 2 is definitely going to pose a challenge.
Absolutely.
But I think with the morals and the ethic that I live by, I think it'll come natural. There'll be days I'll be tested. But continuing to kind of being steadfast.
Love that, bro.
As a father for my kid. So.
No, that's so good, man. I think what you're hitting on is so true. Like as men, as leaders, there is something deep within us that says like there's more.
Always.
And I think that's a good thing. I think God placed that in a man. Not to be like coveting more as opposed to like, oh, I want more things, but it's like no, deep within my soul, I know that God has more for me.
It's like more purpose.
More meaning. And, you know, I think that's good for every man to feel that. And like what you're describing is you're like, okay, now I have more weight being put, and this is good weight on me, right? Like the weight of being a father, the weight of like, okay, I want to provide in a different way now. I want my wife to be able to like have the freedom that, you know, she can have. And so like, I love that, man. Because what you're saying too is like, it goes back to the leadership conversation. Every X amount of years, we really have to recreate ourselves. And it's not fun. It's like a metamorphosis, right? It's like a transformation that has to take place because the X that started the gym a couple years ago, if he stays the same as the gym grows, it's the gym. You're gonna like hit some walls.
Correct. You're gonna hit some walls, or it's never gonna get to where you you
Yeah,
envision or you
exactly.
would like it to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's what I love about kind of having like an entrepreneurial mindset, you know. In the scripture, the Bible language calls it apostolic,
Okay.
but in a more like a contemplative like example, just outside of church, like secular language is more like leadership
Yeah.
or entrepreneurial, right? So you have that on you, man. Like you're definitely like if you were to come and be a part of like the church and start serving, I would already know, okay, this guy has an apostolic gift, meaning you're a starter, you're a leader. It's natural. It just comes natural. And you need those people in the room to start things,
Yeah.
to fire things up. And it sounds like, man, like you're always going to be the kind of person that's like, no, Andrea, we got to keep pushing. We got to keep doing this. I'm going to figure this out. There's things that we got to do to grow this area or that area. And that's a gift, you know? And not everyone has that.
No.
I think you can develop it,
Yeah.
but there's a grace that's on you when you have a gift.
Yeah, especially when it comes natural.
Yes, it becomes natural. Yeah.
When it's not natural, you really have to kind of push your boundaries a little bit,
for sure.
and have to kind of step outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't say like being this type of leader that I am, it's not. It's sometimes it can get uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
But you have to be okay with that because in order for things to eventually become comfortable and for things to grow, for things to become renewed and transform, like it has to become uncomfortable. And I think that's where I feel like, and you could probably attest to it as well, being that natural kind of born leader that have that natural leadership capabilities, we thrive when things are or when pressure is put 100%. On us, you know. When
I
when
do
it's time,
better when it's pressure
when
on
it's
me.
time crunch, and you're like, you got a day to do it or 2 days to do it, and I got to get this done. Like, and I know it's crazy because it's like when I have too much time in my hand, I can definitely be the most laziest, non-productive person.
Sure.
But then when you tell me like, oh, we got to get this done tomorrow, and I'm like, any little gap I have in my day, I'm doing this, and it gets done.
Absolutely.
You know?
I love that, man.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, so dope, bro. I mean, I really appreciate you coming on and really being our first guest, bro.
I appreciate it as well. I mean, it's like I said, it's an honor.
Yeah,
it's
for
pretty
sure,
cool,
man. You know, and thank you for being so generous, man, to me and Tom, and to like allowing us in your space. There's so many guys from the church that know of Savage because we go to do the ice bath.
Yeah.
And you've opened that up to us, man, and I appreciate it.
They love that, huh?
I love to see them in pain.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what they're really about. It's really a test. I'm like, hey, come check it out. But I really want to know if you can do hard things and endure it.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for your kindness. It's a superpower. It really is.
I appreciate that.
Your generosity. I love being around more men that are going in a particular direction, and yours is towards purpose and meaning and destiny. And so, however I could be a part of that, even if it's just like to just be in the journey with you, I'm grateful.
Absolutely.
So,
I appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. I mean, it's been a pleasure having you guys at the gym, and it's only been a year, since you guys started coming through. All thanks to Chris, you know. I mean, Chris is definitely a big advocate for anybody he truly loves and admires and sees great potential in. And, you know, thank you guys for just treating Savage like it's respected place that we intend it for, you know. Sure. And as I've mentioned before, it's always open for anybody here at Coin, any family or friends you guys have. It's a place for everyone, and it's a place for whoever wants to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on, man.
So appreciate it.
Well, thanks for hopping on to this episode. It is really helpful if you hit that like subscribe button, or you shoot a comment, or you share it, just so we can get this word out. Appreciate you all listening in, and we'll see you next time.